Hi guys, back again. I thought I'd come back on, do a sort of a little bit of a mid-game week review, and I'm also going to discuss some of my views around chip use and double game weeks. There's been a lot of talk about the chips on Twitter and everything. So I'm just gonna give you my views on that. So let's have a little, so a little recap, little bit of a sort of mid game week review because we've got a little bit of a break now, haven't we, before the next games. Um, so I just thought we'll just share with you guys how my team's doing. For those of you who watched my previous video will note that I did have some concerns about this game week for a number of reasons, and um, those concerns were justified because it's not been a good start for me. I took a -8. I don't have Antonio. Don't have any Everton or any Brentford either. So it's looking like a fairly sizable red arrow. Unfortunately, I was kind of hoping to get away with just maybe a small red, but thanks to the United clowns, that's not looking possible now. So yeah, so the first the first day of the game week, the Spurs game, I did have some concerns about that, and I was concerned about not having either Son or Kane for that game because I really felt like they could score a few against Watford because they've been pretty dire, haven't they, at the back? So I brought Son in as part of a -8, and that game just didn't pan out, did it? How a lot of us expected. Um, Spurs really struggled. Watford, for some reason, decided to defend a lot better than they have been. Um, at least Son got something out of the game, I suppose, with that very late assist. And Reguilon got a clean sheet as well, so it wasn't horrendous, but I was hoping for more from that game, to be honest. And then the West Ham game, obviously, I don't have Antonio. He scored, not good for me. Bowen got a bit of a lucky assist, I suppose. Um, it's quite what is quite frustrating actually about that West Ham game is that I actually put on Twitter a day or so before the game week deadline that I said, look, what tends to happen with double game weeks is that it's often the players that people perhaps don't even think about that end up doing well. The sort of lesser known players, whilst the kind of more popular, obvious picks perhaps don't do so well. And I actually said, you watch players like Lanzini and Soucek, watch them be the guys getting the big points, whilst the um, who of course everyone will completely ignore, and the more popular picks perhaps don't do so well. And so Lanzini goes and gets 2 goals, as I almost as I kind of predicted. Quite frustrating because why didn't I back that? Why didn't I? So you know what? Yeah, I could be right about that. It's happened a lot in game weeks gone by. Why not go for a little under the radar pick such as Lanzini? But of course, again, like I seem to do so often, I go with the kind of boring template pick in Bowen. I think, to be fair, what the main reason why I did go for him in the end is because I'm kind of thinking more long term. Do I really want Lanzini in my team, kind of going forward after this game week? Probably not. Bowen's probably a better pick, isn't he, long term? And who knows? There's still another game to go. He might end up getting similar amount of points to Lanzini anyway, mightn't he? But yeah, I just thought that was quite amusing when I saw that Lanzini had scored, and then I went out with my wife for a meal. So I didn't keep track of the game, and I just checked the result when I got home and saw that he'd scored a penalty as well. Comical. Um, so yeah, and so it wasn't horrendous after the sort of first set of games on the Saturday, but not particularly great either, really. But in all fairness, I was actually quite concerned about the Sunday fixtures because out of all these teams who played, I only had Trent and Jota, who, let's face it, everyone else has got anyway. So didn't have any Everton, no Brentford, no Rafinha, no Salah. But as it happened, with all those Sunday results, literally nobody who had really anyone owns did anything, did they? Everyone blanked, apart from Salah. You know, Rafinha did nothing. Um, the Everton guys, Gray, obviously Calvert-Lewin missed a penalty as well. So I thought I'd got away with one there, and I was actually quite pleased with how the Sunday games went. I think my overall rank only went down by about 15,000 places, and I was thinking, you know what? I've still got the Man United game to come. You know, decent chance of some points from at least one of Ronaldo or De Gea, whatever you want to, however you pronounce it. Um, and I was thinking, you know what? I might just get away with a small red arrow this week. Um, but that United game, honestly, I watched it, and what an absolute waste of 2 hours of my life watching that game, hoping for points from those players. Utter, utter dross again, wasn't it, from United? I mean, to be fair, Wolves' defence is good. They are quite hard to score against. You've only got to look at their results over the last sort of 6 7 weeks. Liverpool struggled against them. Man City struggled to score as well. So it wasn't too surprising really that United didn't score. But the thing is, even after 80 minutes of watching nothing happen, I'm thinking, well, actually, it looks like I'm at least going to get some points from De Gea. And I was looking at the BPS scores and his saves. So he'd made 5 saves, and he was kind of he was near the top of the BPS scores. He was kind of I was checking it periodically, and he was fluctuating between 1, 2, and 3. And I was thinking, if he can just make one more save, that'll take him up to an extra save point. Plus, it'll put him into 3 bonus points. So I'm thinking, well, this is looking like a 10 or 11 point haul from him. So that's all right. Even if Ronaldo doesn't score, I'll take that. And then the Wolves goal goes in. Just so depressing, honestly. Just absolute shit, really was. Um, so because of that, it's looking quite dire for me this week. So let me just show you. So where was I last? So I was 94k going into this game week. With the games that have been played, I'm down to 122k. But of course, there's more games to go. I don't have Antonio. I don't have any Everton. Don't have any Leicester either. Um, so barring a hat trick from Broja, it's going to be looking like a sizable red arrow for me, unfortunately. But we'll see. You never know. There's a lot that can still happen, isn't there, between now and when the next game is. So I just want to talk about chip use. So I'm looking at. There's a lot of talk on Twitter about free hits and wildcards, and there's even been. I've seen some people talking about potentially using the bench boost chip because we're all anticipating that game week 22 is going to be there's going to be some double game weeks. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I feel like chips need to be held back and not used for now because there's so much uncertainty with which teams are going to play, which players are going to play. And if we take so let's just mention the bench boost chip. Now, the whole point of that chip is to get points from all 15 of your players. That's the whole point of it, isn't it? That's the benefit of it. So you need to have some assurances as to all 15 of those players starting. Ideally you'd really need to have a playing reserve keeper as well, so he can get points from your bench boost. Now, as far as I'm concerned, with everything that's going on, with games being postponed, I know what one thing I will say about that. Yes, we are finding that perhaps the really late game postponements are a thing of the past. We don't tend to be getting them postponed so late anymore. However, players are still getting COVID left, right, and centre. You know, what are the chances of you bench boost, and what are the chances of all of your players starting in the current climate? Because the trouble is as well, we don't know who's got COVID. That's the issue. We don't tend to find out before the game week deadline, do we? Because the clubs don't tend to release the identity of the players who have got it. You're really just sitting there, just hoping that all your players are going to play. But the chances are they're not going to. You know, there was more cases this game week, wasn't there, with Liverpool now? Firmino has got COVID. No, okay, nobody has Firmino, but that could have easily been Salah, could have easily been Jota, Trent, and we wouldn't have known about it. There were other players this week, weren't there? Watkins, Foden, I think. Well, I'm not 100% sure it is actually COVID that he's got. It's not clear at the moment, but whilst there were some rumours on Twitter going round about Foden having COVID, there was nothing that was actually confirmed by anyone, and Pep hadn't come out and said that we've got more cases. So you've got that to contend with, and that's also you. On top of that, you've got the other normal things to worry about, like are any of those 15 players going to pick up an injury? Are they going to get rotated out? So as far as I'm concerned, I just think the chances of all 15 of those players starting are quite slim. Um, and the last thing I want to be doing is using a chip and then to see that 3 or 4 of my players don't start for whatever reason, and there could be a number of reasons why they don't play. We've also got the problem now as well is that with the AFCON, teams that are losing players to the AFCON are going to have their squads further depleted, aren't they? Liverpool have asked for the Carabao Cup to be postponed, which I believe has been granted, so that's off. Um, so yeah, and it's the same with the free hit chips. You could use that, and you could get 2 of your players got COVID. Not only do they miss the first game of the double week if they've got one, but they'll also miss the next one as well. And as far as I'm concerned, these chips they're so important and so powerful that for me, I feel that they need to be held back until there is a little bit more certainty and things have actually settled down in relation to COVID. Because there's going to be more double weeks. We're only halfway through the season. There's going to be a lot of managers towards the end of the season when we get more double weeks, and we will do. We will get more. We always get them because of the FA Cup. Teams being involved in FA Cup, so their games get postponed and rescheduled. There's always double weeks. There's going to be a lot of managers when we get to the stage between sort of game week 30 and onwards, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be thinking, oh, I wish I had these chips left, honestly. So, um, so yeah, that's just my take on it. Yes, you may have a situation where you could be looking at your squad for game week 22 and thinking, well, this is all set up for a bench boost. I've got, I mean, we haven't had the double weeks announced yet, but it's anticipated that there are going to be for some clubs. I don't think West Ham are going to have a double week, but they've got a great fixture. So we could be looking at our teams thinking, oh, look at that, play the bench boost. That's could be a really good time to use it. But I would say no, don't use it because you, there's no point. There's no point in taking the risk. You're not going to have everyone play. It almost seems impossible at the moment. So that's just my kind of. They're just my feelings. Um, People might not necessarily agree. That's fine. And if you don't, let me know in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Do you disagree with what I've said? I'm interested to know. So this kind of brings me on to another thing I'd like to talk about. It's along the same sort of a same topic really, but it's just on the double weeks. I saw there's been a couple of comments on Twitter today about are we going to have a huge double week for game week 22? And my thoughts is that, well, I hope I hope not, because when you have the more teams that have a double week, the lesser the opportunity is to gain an edge on everyone else. Um, because yes, okay, if you got loads of teams playing twice, yeah, you could get a huge score. But the problem is, so does everyone else. Yeah, there's success in individual game weeks is not about the amount of points you score. It's it's how those points compare to what everyone else gets. It's all about game week rank, guys. Honestly, you could get a score of 40, and if the average for that week is only 20, that's a great week because you've gained an average of 20 points on the rest of the game. That is a better scenario than scoring 110 points when the average is 100. It's because the gain on everyone else is less. So, and I actually sort of casting my mind back to last season. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was around game week 30, I think, and we had a huge double week. It was pretty much everyone was playing twice. Not every single team, but most of them. It was probably about 75% of the teams had two games. And of course, everyone gets excited about it. But I thought so. So last season, I had quite a bad start to the season. My overall rank was terrible for quite a long time. So I kind of shifted my focus towards my work mini league. Don't normally, I'm not normally so concerned about it's kind of a secondary interest really. But I've won my work league literally every year for the last 4 or 5 years. Um, and it's primarily because the other guys who are in that league, whilst they do their transfers every week, they're what I would class as casual players. So, um, and you can tell they're casual players just by the decisions they make. That they're not people that spend any kind of time planning or uh, working out which are the best guys to bring in. They'll typically just a day or so before the game week deadline, they'll load up FPL, look at who's near the top of the points list, and just bring someone in without much thought. But somehow last season I found myself about 130 points behind the leader, so I took that as a challenge. So anyway, we had this huge double week, and I'm thinking, oh, this is good, but I looked at my mini league rivals teams, and you look and you're like, well, actually, they've already got loads of players playing twice just by default, purely because there are so many teams playing twice, and they've got that through no planning, nothing. It's just because there are so many teams playing twice. You know, everyone's team is going to have these players. So for me, the the double game weeks to target in terms of gaining a edge on other managers are those game weeks where there's perhaps only 4 to 6 teams playing twice. Yeah, if that makes sense. And particularly if you're looking at maybe using a free hit, because you can get whole all 11 players with 2 games, whereas everyone else or a lot of the other people who perhaps either haven't got any free hits left, they may only be able to get 4, 5, 6 players in, and that's the reason why I actually was very close to using one of my free hit chips this game week, but I didn't in the end. Partly because of the reasons I mentioned earlier about the uncertainty around our players going to play, but also because I just felt, well, 3 teams are playing twice. It's not really enough. It's not really enough, is it? I mean, even if you loaded up on all of them, yeah, you could have 9 double weekers. But also, those teams, they're not very good teams either, are they? Brentford and Everton, particularly. Obviously, West Ham are, but you can get the West Ham guys in anyway without using a hit. So that's so it's only because of that reason that I decided against it in the end. Um, so yeah, that's what I that's what I think about that really. I just think definitely, the best weeks to target are ones where, yeah, you've only got perhaps 4, 4, 5, 6 teams playing twice. So these huge double game weeks that everyone gets excited about, honestly, they're nothing special in terms of, you know, because and in this game it's all about, how are you going to defeat everyone else? Well, okay, not everyone else, because no one's going to, I'm not saying that we're going to win the whole game, but you know what I mean. Gaining an edge on most of the other managers. How are we going to do that? It's not by having a huge double game week, just because so many teams are going to be flush with loads of double game week players without even having to plan. So where are you going to get an edge on those people? Yes, there might be other ways to do it if you want to think about wild carding one week, bring everyone in, and then use your bench boost the following week. So you've then basically got 15 players playing twice. But there's drawbacks to that particular strategy. Because yeah, once you've used that, we only have one wild card now, don't we? So it has to be considered carefully. Very powerful chip, as are the free hit chips. Uh, so yeah, that's just. I thought I'd come on and just give my thoughts on that, because yeah, as I say, there's seen a lot of people on Twitter, getting excited about this so-called huge double game week that we seem to think is coming. Um, but yeah, well, nothing's been announced yet, has it? So so yeah, that's the video, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, um, make a comment, like, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Really need to get the subscribers up. I'm only on about it's about 73. So yeah, just yeah, get subscribing. And if you do enjoy the content, guys, don't forget to click that notification bell, because that way you'll get notified as soon as I upload future videos. So yeah, that's it for the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.